Imagine waking up one morning and your phone won't connect. No messages, no emails, no news. Your home assistant just blinks blankly. Your smart devices are dead. You try your laptop, nothing. You reboot your router, still nothing. No websites load, no signals come in. It's as if the world has gone silent. But it's not a glitch. It's not a storm. It's deliberate. A switch has been flipped, and the internet is gone. It sounds like dystopian science fiction, but the truth is far more disturbing. The infrastructure to kill the internet already exists. It's been tested, it's been mapped, and it can be activated at any moment by a small group of people with the right access and the right motives. This isn't a conspiracy theory. It's policy. It's protocol. And it's quietly baked into the very system we all rely on. They've been preparing for this moment not for years, but for decades. And the public has been too distracted to notice. The internet, once hailed as the greatest tool for freedom and expression, has become the perfect weapon for control. Because whoever controls the switch controls everything. They control what you see, what you know, and ultimately what you believe. The terrifying reality is that this isn't a hypothetical future. It's an engineered present. Everything from the content we consume to the conversations we have is routed through centralized systems. It looks open, but it's governed by silent architecture. Most people think of the internet as something decentralized, unbreakable, too big to fail. But that's a dangerous illusion. The web is built on a backbone of physical choke points, cables, servers, DNS infrastructure that are all controlled by very specific entities, governments, corporations, military alliances, and these entities have already developed protocols for emergency shutdowns. We call them national security measures. But what they really are is digital martial law. Hidden beneath the buzzwords of cybersecurity and resilience, this apparatus has been sharpened into a tool for digital dominance. Back in 2011, during the Arab Spring, the Egyptian government shut down internet access across the entire country. Within hours, an entire population was digitally blinded. And that was over a decade ago. The tools are now faster, more advanced, more granular. Countries like China and Iran don't just censor, they disconnect. They isolate regions. They control bandwidth. And what once seemed authoritarian is now being adopted across so-called free democracies. It no longer takes an army to occupy a city. It takes a signal to silence it. And it's not just about authoritarian regimes anymore. It's about preparing for the collapse of civil trust. It's about silencing rebellion before it begins. Every click, every upload, every call is potentially a trigger. Predictive policing and AI surveillance are integrated with digital infrastructure in ways we can't even fully trace. Your online behavior is now a risk profile. Your metadata is ammunition. There are kill switch laws embedded in national cybersecurity policies across the globe. In the United States, Section 706 of the Communications Act gives the president sweeping authority to shut down communications infrastructure in a national emergency. Similar policies exist in Canada, the UK, Germany, India, and dozens of other nations. They are written in vague, broad language, designed to be interpreted however power dictates. And when those switches are tested, no one tells the public. The blackout simply happens. The reason is always something technical. But the truth is never released. Because if the public knew how fragile our digital lifeline really is, panic would follow. The global internet is held together by undersea cables, nearly 500 of them, stretching across continents, linking economies and governments. Snipping just a few of them could fracture the web for entire regions. These cables are unprotected, vulnerable, mapped in detail. The knowledge of where and how to disrupt them is in the hands of intelligence agencies and militaries. And it's not just theory. In 2022, the internet in Tonga was crippled for weeks after a single undersea cable was damaged. No war, no attack, just one cable. And that's only scratching the surface. Diversions, sabotage, deep-sea drones. There are countless ways to disrupt global connectivity, and most of them leave no fingerprints. Think about this. A single point of failure in a strategic undersea cable near Europe or Asia could cascade into economic chaos. Banks freeze, stock markets stutter, trade halts, and all it takes is plausible deniability and deep-sea access. And then there's the DNS system, the digital phone book of the web. It's what lets you reach a website by name instead of by raw IP address. If you control DNS, you can make websites vanish from the face of the earth. And guess what? A tiny handful of corporations and government partnerships manage the root servers of the global DNS infrastructure. That's not decentralization. That's concentration of power on a terrifying scale. And it's not just DNS. It's certificates, gateways, authentication layers. Each one is a lock, and someone out there holds the master key. You might think your VPN or backup servers will save you, but when the switch is flipped from the backbone, when the choke points are hit, nothing gets through. It's like cutting the power lines to a city. It doesn't matter how many lamps you have if there's no electricity. And worse, most of us have become so reliant on digital communication that even a 24-hour blackout could paralyze transportation, banking, logistics, hospitals, and emergency response systems. Society runs on the internet. Shutting it down is the modern equivalent of pulling the fire alarm in a crowded city. Except now, it's the entire world in that building. In an age where everything is smart, disconnection becomes a form of strategic dumbness. No access, no resistance, no evidence. And here's the most disturbing part. They've already rehearsed it. Governments and corporations routinely conduct cyber war simulations, events like Cyber Polygon, where major international players test what would happen in the event of a global digital blackout. These are not theoretical games, they're blueprints. They involve banks, telecom providers, defense contractors, and intelligence services. The stated goal is resilience. But behind closed doors, it's about control. How fast can we isolate a region? How precisely can we filter traffic? How efficiently can we purge dissent? These aren't questions asked in the future tense. They're tasks being assigned now. Test scenarios have quietly expanded from simulating cyber attacks to rehearsing network control under civilian unrest. They know what happens when people lose access to communication: panic, confusion, and compliance. And they know how to weaponize it. The same systems designed to bring people together can be inverted to tear them apart. When every device is connected, disconnection becomes the ultimate punishment. And in a world of smart everything, from fridges to cars to cities, that punishment becomes deeply personal. Shut off a phone, and someone is silenced. Shut off a city, and rebellion dissolves into isolation. But why would they do it? Why would anyone want to shut down the internet? Control. In moments of social unrest, economic collapse, political scandal, or public awakening, the internet becomes a threat to the established order. It allows for coordination, exposure, mobilization. The truth spreads faster than lies can be written, and that terrifies those in power, so they build the kill switch. They normalize the concept through emergency response plans. They tell us it's for our own safety, but make no mistake, when the time comes, it won't be safety they're protecting. It will be themselves. It always is. In the digital age, control isn't about guns, it's about bandwidth. Imagine a world where the switch is flipped selectively, where activists are silenced instantly, where entire cities go dark during elections, where access to online banking, digital ID, and even communication is cut unless you comply. That's not fiction, that's programmable control, and it's being implemented under the guise of cybersecurity and digital convenience. The more digital your life becomes, the easier it is to revoke. That's the trade-off we've accepted without reading the fine print. We are sleepwalking into a future where one invisible command can unmake society, where silence is a service disruption away, and where freedom, once wired into the network, becomes a vulnerability to be patched. What began as a promise of connection is morphing into a system of silent obedience. Every upgrade, every convenience, every speed boost comes with a hidden trade-off: your dependency. And that dependency is now so total, so unquestioned, that the very thought of digital silence feels like suffocation. This is not a call for panic. It's a call for awareness. Because the system isn't broken. It's functioning exactly as designed. And unless we ask who holds the switch and why, we may not notice it's missing until the screen goes black. By then, it will be too late. The internet kill switch is real, and it's ready. And one day, when it's used, you won't hear a click. You'll just notice the silence.